we can meet. Yes, and it's good that we can meet once again for another meeting of our Kiwanians club. This evening we'll have another segment, up close and personal, and this is a segment, of course, which is done every 3 months, where we get to know each of our members, and as they share their something personal, something funny, their achievements with the wider club and other participants. But to do the official welcome, I'm going to call on President Designate Junior Stewart to do so. PD Junior.
Muted.
PD Junior.
You're not hearing me?
Yes, we're in now. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I said welcome to all our Kiwanians and friends online with us this evening. I just in this segment we are going to be giving you the opportunity to bring greetings from your clubs, respective clubs. So we'll just start from those clubs that are overseas. Any overseas club with us now that would like to bring greetings? Those clubs that are outside of Jamaica and overseas, that is. No, when we just move to Division 25. Division 25, those clubs in Division 25, would you like to bring greetings at this time? Division 25. 24, Division 24. Clubs in, you still hear me, President Paul?
Yes, we're hearing it clearly.
Okay, good. I was just wondering whether I was being heard. What about those clubs from Division 24? If not, we move to 23 West.
Good evening, DP Junior.
Yes, good evening.
This is DP Janet bringing greetings from the Kiwanis Club of the Sunshine City, Portmore. There are 4 of us joining, and we're looking forward to hear from Kiwanians Michael and Zurie. Hope you have a wonderful meeting. Thank you.
I'm also looking forward to hear from them. And thank you for coming, and we sure do welcome you at our club.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Good evening, DP Junior.
How are you?
I bring you cool greetings from the Kiwanis Club of Mandeville on behalf of the president and the other members. There are 2 of us online with you this evening, sharing in your meeting, Treasurer Nordia, and I am DP Josephine. Looking forward to a very exciting meeting with you this evening.
Thank you for coming.
Our parent.
Okay, that's good. Thank you for coming. And we know that you are going to enjoy this one as usual. 23 West. 23 East. Those in our own Division 23 Central.
Good evening, Kiwanians and Gatsby Junior.
Yes, I know the voice.
I was trying to open the mic. I bring you greetings from the Kiwanis Club of New Kingston.
Yes.
It's good to be on, and hopefully we'll learn something from your 2 members. There are a few of us on, and I'm sure others will join, but at the moment I'm seeing Director Sarah Rochester, Kiwanian Marilyn Bennett, and I'm DLG Gerslin. Have an enjoyable meeting.
And thank you for coming as usual, DLG.
Thank you.
I'm sure you will enjoy this meeting as you enjoy others.
Thank you very much. I'm sure we will.
Yes.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Sorry about that. Yes. I am President Audrey from the Kiwanis Club of Papine at UTEC. Currently, we have 4 members in the meeting, and others will join us shortly, and we're looking forward to what you have to offer us this evening. Thank you.
We certainly have two mouthfuls for you this evening, and we know that you'll enjoy it. And thank you for coming again. 23 Central.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
Ladies before gentlemen.
I realize that.
Oh, hi, good evening, everybody. How are you doing?
We are well.
Wonderful.
Yes.
I am co-chair Eurydice from the Kiwanians Club of 23 Central Surrey Online.
Okay.
And with me are three other members, Kiwanian Peter Gay, Secretary LaShawn, and Kiwanian Melvin. I'm pretty sure we'll have many more joining in short order. So in the interim, thank you so much for inviting us, and do have a wonderful evening.
Yes, and thank you for coming, and we sure do welcome you on your team.
Thank you so much.
Good. 23 Central.
Good evening, President-Designate Junior. This is past President Dennis Jackson from Kiwanians Club of North St. Andrew. We're very happy to be here. It's always interesting to hear other people's business, so we're here. and there are 6 of us on at this time, and we might have some more. Thank you very much for the invitation.
And thank you for coming. If we didn't want to hear our business, we would have invited you.
We are here every week. We are here every week.
I know. I'm aware.
Yes.
Yes. 23 Central. 23 Central. What about our SLPs? We'll hear from our SLPs now. SLPs online.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. President Kino here from the Michael University College CKI. Currently, there are 5 members who are online, including myself, and we're looking forward to a very engaging meeting. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, Kino, as usual. President Kino. SLPs.
Good evening, everyone. This is distinguished President Sudan Curtis from the Campadon High School. With me are 14 other members, including my Assistant Secretary, Webmaster, and immediate past treasurer, and we look forward to an amazing meeting.
Yes, you sure do. You come with the whole team this evening, as usual. And thank you for coming, and we certainly welcome you as usual, as you know. SLPs. Other Kiwanians online that would like to bring greetings?
Junior, just to say that, as I said, others would join. Claudette Walker is on, and yes, Sonia Liebert. Just wanted to add them. So sorry for the interruption.
And that is quite okay, dear.
Thank you.
Good evening, DP Junior.
And Hope McNeish.
Yes, and Hope McNeish. I said Hope McNeish.
Oh, okay.
All our daughters, most of our daughters are here. I just got a little bit of history last night that you're the biggest club to be formed, ever to be formed. At least one, but it must be the biggest club to be formed.
I think we're still the biggest club right now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good evening, DP Junior.
Go on, yes.
It's just DLG Joe from the Kiwanians Club of Hopewell.
Okay, all the way from the west.
Yes, it is a pleasure for me to be. It's a pleasure for me to be here this evening, and I wish for you a very interesting meeting. Bring your greetings on behalf of the club. I seem to be alone at the moment, but I hope others will join later. Thank you.
As I've always said, you're not alone, you're with us.
Yes, that's true.
I sure do hope that others will join.
And especially with DLG Gerthlin and DLG Willie.
That's right. That's right.
For a long time, people, Joe.
Yes, yes, Davey.
We continue to serve.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Any others that would like to bring greetings? Any other line now that would like to bring greetings? Let us do so quickly, because we want to get to those who are going to tell us their business tonight. And I know that is what a lot of people come for. And so, without further ado, I just pass it back to our President Paul to carry on the proceedings and get into business. President Paul?
Yes, thank you very much, President Designate Junior.
Yes.
Yes. At this time, I don't have any apologies for absence. And Secretary DLG Willie, did you receive any?
Yes, we have apology absence from Treasurer Orville and Director Marcel.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to move on to the recognition of birthdays and anniversaries. And I see our President-elect designate online, Newton.
If you can, good evening, everyone.
Yes,
President Paul, if you can hear me, I'm going to ask you to do the honors for me. I'm in heavy traffic right now, and I don't want to stray.
Okay, then. Will do.
Thank you.
Yes, we have, let me just, yes, okay. Well, we have the birthday of Kiwanian Jerome Gale, which will be on the 6th of May, this coming Friday. And in fact, today is the birthday of Carol, wife of our director, David All. So probably that's the reason why our director is not on, but we will convey birthday wishes to his wife, Carol. And on the 9th of May is our past chairman, Lowell Mason's birthday. Those are the birthdays that we have for this week. And we just hope that they continue to have a good, they will all have a good and blessed birthday celebrations as the day approach. I'm going to ask anyone on this platform, anyone celebrating birthday or any special anniversary that you want to share with us. Well, no birthdays, no anniversaries. Well, we'll move on to our Kiwanis education, and I'm going to ask Secretary DLG Willie to do so.
Thank you, President Paul. Good evening again, Kiwanians, visitors, Key Club members. If I may just depart for 1 second, President Paul, I'd be remiss if I did not congratulate young Sidon Curtis from Camp Edon Key Club for being distinguished in the Emerald Division at the recent Key Club convention. Well done, Sidon. And congratulations to Diana Denton, who is now the first vice president of the Michael Gillett graduate. And just a word that we have on line Imani Duncan, who we were speaking about last night at our meeting. Tonight's Kiwanis education is taken from the standard form for club bylaws, Article 5, the use and discipline of members. You recall last night when the subject came up, we had 55 members paid up as that last night. Well, good news is we had 5 additional members paid up today, so we have 16 members paid up in addition to 6 members who we have waived the dues in view of their condition or their health reasons. So we're up now to 67% of our total membership. We're climbing there, President Paul, and hopefully by the end of May we'll be at 80%. Section 1 of the article, does any active member being 2 members in arrears
and or financial obligations by majority vote of the board of directors shall stand suspended from membership and be so notified in writing by the secretary. Upon payment of arrears and making application of reinstatement of a membership, such member within 30 days from the date of such written notice by majority vote of the board may be reinstated. If such member is not reinstated within the 30 days period, the individual membership is terminated. Section 2, active members shall maintain regular attendance at club meetings and shall actively participate in club activities. And the board of directors shall review semi-annually the attendance at regular club meetings of each active member. At the discretion of the board, any active member who without excuse fails to regularly attend club meetings or actively participate in activities by majority of the board shall stand suspended and be so notified in writing by the secretary. That's our Kiwanians education for tonight. President Paul, over to you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much, DLG Willie. And of course, I'm very happy that we're making progress with our collections because, of course, we don't want to delete any members, but we need to continue in earnest to ensure that all the dues are collected as quickly as possible. We're moving on to our main event, and I'm going to ask DP Stuart Spencer to take charge of this event.
Thank you, President Paul. Fellow Kiwanians and guests, it is my pleasure this evening to, well, I'm not going to introduce the persons who are going to speak because that is part of what they're going to share with us. I was kind of amused, it was amusing to hear our friend from North St. Andrew say, he came to hear other people's business. Well, we don't promote it like that, but I guess to a certain extent that there's some truth to that. So this evening we have Zurie Johnson, who is one of our newer members, and we have Michael Archer, who has been a member for a while. And I told Zurie that we were gonna go with him first. So as I said, my job is not to talk about them. They are gonna do that. So let me ask Zurie to step up to the mic and give him a little round of applause. Let's do that.
All right, thank you, Stuart. Thank you, DP Stuart. Everyone is hearing me?
Yeah, okay, we're hearing you.
Okay. So I'm going to start like this. Brothers of the Kiwanis Club, other Kiwanians, guests, good evening. I've been asked to share in our up close and personal feature where I'm guessing the aim is to get to know members a little bit better. So, but I'm gonna say this. I certify that the matters owned to herein, insofar as they are within my personal knowledge, are true, and insofar as they are not within my personal knowledge, are true to the best of my information and belief. So to give better insight into who I am, I will speak about my life in stages, and I will assign themes to each aspect or to each stage, which will hopefully give you a better understanding of who I am. Sir DP Stewart, I have 20 minutes, right? To talk. So in order to keep within the time, I have decided to write down what I wish to share. So I'm going to start my timer and I'm going to go into what I have written. So we'll start with the first 15 years of my life, which I have themed one way in, one way out. So it was a Tuesday morning, minutes before 6:30 that I was born. I was the 5th child for my mother and the 3rd child for my father, but it was decided by both parents that I was going to be their last child. My mother was 2 months away from 38 years old, and back in those days, that would be considered old, right? So she had me in her later stage of life. So the pattern, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy. So I have 2 older brothers, 2 older sisters. So I'm going to refer to the older brother as bigger brother, the brother that I follow as big brother, the same thing for our sisters, bigger sister, big sister, so that it's easier. My birth was welcomed with mixed emotions. I was home delivered and the nurse arrived late. So she actually came after I was delivered. So the persons in the community had to gather around to help to bring me into the world. So my navel string was actually cut by the community midwife. My bigger sister was getting ready to go to school, and as she tells it, she was told that she was unable to go to school that morning, so she needed to get changed. And her immediate reaction was, why does she have to stay home after she never tell this old woman figure have next baby? My big sister, however, she has a different thing because she says she was not sure what was happening. She just saw people going in and out of the room. They were covering the bed and she was just wondering what is happening. The name Zurie, where it came from, it is now becoming a popular name. It's more so popular now. So if you meet Zuries now, they're probably 6 years and under. In my time growing up, I was the only Zurie I knew. Yeah, and I was the only Zurie at my school, only Zurie in my classes. It was not until I was age 15 when I got to Arden that I actually met another Zurie. But it is spelled differently, which makes it another language. So Z-U-R-I-E is the French version, Z-U-R-I is the Swahili version. I'm still yet to meet anyone with the Z-U-R-I-E, which is how mine is spelled. So I already told you that my father decided that I was going to be the last child. And that's how he got the name Zurie, because his first child's name started with A. And so he wanted mine to start with Z to signal beginning and end. He wanted to go from A to Z. So my mother, however, she had another name for me. She did not win the name battle, I'd call it, but she didn't lose the war because her name for me, Orlando, is actually my middle name. So I'm Zurie Orlando instead of Zurie Yamik, which was my father's intended full name for me. I was born in Thickets, a rural community in the Dry Harbor Mountains of St. Anne, and that's 6 miles above Discovery Bay. So most persons probably will not be familiar with it, but you might be familiar with Puerto Seco. It's across the road from Puerto Seco and up into the hills. I was very fascinated with my community and where I grew up because I was a reader and it reminded me of the communities that I saw described in A Cow Called Boy, My Father's Son Johnson, or The Wooing of Beppotate. In my community, persons still went to the river to wash. We still had the community tank, which is called the parish tank, so people still go there for water. We had the common, where we'd go for our sporting activities. We'd go for Sunday afternoon cricket, where everybody would gather after church. I was christened on February 14th, 1988, and got my cradle certificate that day. I find this day very significant because it's the day where most people, well, everybody celebrates love, is Valentine's Day. So I just always find that a very peculiar thing that my parents chose that day to actually get me christened. At 2 years old, I started the community basic school. And at 5 years old, I started Keith All Age School. So most of these community names and schools you might not be familiar with, but Keith All Age is now Keith Primary. And for those who are on, especially younger people who might not be familiar with all age schools, at one point in time in Jamaica, we had schools that went from grade 1 up to grade 9. So persons would not all start high school at grade 7. Some would continue into the all age school until they get to grade 9. So I guess that's a little bit of history lesson. At first, the principal of the all age school, she did not want to admit me at 5 because she thought that that was a bit young, because usually they take students at 6. But she asked for me to do a reading test. And after the reading test, she decided that I was able to manage, and so I could start there. So in grade 5, that was in 1997, after spending 2 weeks in grade 5, I was moved to grade 6 because it would have been 1998 would have been the last year of common entrance exam. Again, some history lesson. Common entrance exam was the pep of the time. I think it is now. Yes, so common entrance was the pep of the time. So it was the last year, and the teachers figured if I was not successful at this point, there is still the exam that the government is introducing the following year, and I'll still be of age to do it. So they're not jeopardizing anything by giving me the opportunity to do the exam early. Did the exam, was successful, and was placed at York Castle High School. That was my mother's choice for me. Actually, I had no say in the school choices for common entrance, but I had no issues with it because York Castle was the only school I wanted to go to in St. Anne. And at that time, whereas it's very popular now for persons to go outside of parish to go to high school, back then that wasn't the focus. So we were just focused on the schools that are within our parish. And so York Castle was my school of choice. So in the 5 years I attended York Castle, I was involved in Spanish club. I did the Spanish quiz, Spanish festival. I was president of the club actually, was captain of the credit union quiz team, member of the debate team, member of the schools challenge quiz team. I don't think any team, even though we lost our first round match, I don't think there's been a team at the school since who has gotten over 40 points, which we did. And I'm very proud of that to this day. I was a member of the choir. I was a member of the science club, even though I did not do the sciences, because I was interested in doing science debates. And I was also president of the Students' Council. So why the theme one way in, one way out? Well, my district tickets has no through road. It was only accessed by one road in, and that's the same road that you would use to leave the community. The community is more subsistence farming. There was no major commercial activities, and most of us were just humble people going about our humble lives. But from that age, I had a dream for myself that was bigger than the opportunities that were presented in the community. And so at that time, I decided that the only way out for me was through education. From then, I decided that I wanted to be a journalist, and no matter what, I was going to become a journalist. So the next phase, moving on to the next phase, which I'm going to dub the Yes You Can phase. So after leaving Reform back then in St. Anne's, there was literally no sixth form programs in the entire parish. I knew then I was not ready for community college because of how it was. I was 15. I didn't think I was mature enough. I didn't think I was disciplined enough to stay focused in an environment like that where it's not as strict an environment as a high school. So I decided I was going to go out of parish to go to sixth form. My first choice was Glenmuir High School. I was very excited about it, but not my bigger sister. My bigger sister, she was convinced that I should not go to any more country schools. And what she said at that time went, and my mother agreed that I'm not going to go to Glenmuir. So I wanted to go to Wolmer's. My mother did not like where Wolmer's was, and so she said, no, not Wolmer's. You see, people who live in Kingston, you understand that where Wolmer's is quite fine, but once you live in country, you have a very different perspective of Kingston, and you have some unnecessary fears as well that comes with just what you have heard and not experienced for yourself. So I did not know what the plan was. I had no plan. The schools I wanted to go to, those who were in charge of me they were not in agreement. So I was home watching this, by the way, now I consider to be sort of divine intervention. I was home watching TV and highlights of JCDC's drama festival came on. And they were featuring a piece from Arden High School. And it just came to me that I just said to my mother, well, Arden it is. And there was no objection. So I came to Kingston. My aunt brought me to the school to get the sixth form package. The day I went to get the package, I was told, well, this is actually the last day of interviews. So I just decided that I'm going to stay. So I was the last one, I think, on that day to have gotten interviewed because I didn't come prepared for the interview. I just came for the package. Needless to say, I spent 2 years there. So I'm guessing that went well. So I dubbed myself a dual citizen. I am a Yorkist and an Ardenite. From Arden, I moved on to the Caribbean Institute of Media and Communication, CARIMAC, at the University of the West Indies. Still pursuing my dream of becoming a journalist until the end of first year when I decided that I no longer wanted to do journalism. I wanted to do public relations instead. Really what appeals to me in public relations is just the fact that you get to tell people what to do, how I saw it. You get to plan stuff, you get to plan events, and basically get an opportunity to tell people how to live. That's how I viewed public relations at the time, and that appealed to me. So there was the switch then from journalism to public relations. I graduated from UWI in 2008. This is a very memorable and special year for me. 2008 started the Jamaican dominance in sprinting. I'm sure everybody can remember the Bird's Nest and what happened where we only lost the 4x1 women because they dropped the baton. So we got Shelley having the goal in the 100, Usain with 2 world records. So that was very special for me. Not only that, it was also the year that Barack Obama became president of the United States for the first time. And that's where my theme comes from, because his campaign slogan at the time was, "Yes, you can." Why was 2008 also memorable for me? I was the first in my family to be graduating with a degree. That's very common for persons in very rural parts of Jamaica. But not only was I graduating, but I was also asked to speak as class valedictorian. So not only was I the first person from my family to graduate with a degree, I was doing it in what we could refer to as, I was doing it in style. I was speaking on behalf of the entire class. UWI that year, for their graduation highlights package, decided to use an excerpt from my speech. I was in the paper, so this was motivational for persons back home, which is always a big thing for me, because part of what I want to do, I'll get to that towards the end of my presentation. The next phase, I'll be looking at a specific year, 2016. And I'm going to refer to that phase as I had the pleasure of seeing my mother die. On February 17th, 2016, I lost my mother to cancer. That is a whole story in and of itself. She was diagnosed late January, and by February 17th, she transitioned. So that was roughly over 2 weeks we had with her. But at this juncture, I started questioning everything about myself, everything about my life and who I was, because my entire existence at the time was tied into my mother. My dreams and aspirations were tied into wanting to do well so that I could take care of her, so that I could give her material things that she deserves, kind of my repayment for all her sacrifices and what she did for me. It caused me also to question my faith, because if there's a definition of a Christian, in my mind, my mother was that definition. She would pray for people and they would say that they received healing. And for me, I just could not reconcile the fact that someone who did so much for her faith and did so much for God in her greatest time of need, it seems like he forgot her. But there were two conversations I had that really helped me with that phase. One was with a friend who told me that God gives us the desires of our hearts, and maybe what my desire was not what my mother's desire was, because her quality of life had changed significantly and she was constantly in pain and there was just no rest. Also, in a conversation with my sister, she reminded me that my mother was not about material things or material gifts. And throughout my life, she was very proud at every award ceremony that she would being able to come to graduation and see me leave as valedictorian, to come and watch me collect the Prime Minister's Youth Award for Excellence. And so whenever these things would happen, or whenever people would offer her congratulations, there would always seem to be a feather in her cap, so to speak. And those just seem to be some of her proudest moments in life. So there was no need for me to repay her, because she was quite satisfied with everything that had happened so far. And for me, that period, why I mention and I speak about that period, because within that moment, there was a lot of unlearning that had to happen, and I had to relearn. So I had to unlearn who I thought I was before and relearn this new person. So since that time, pain has become very much a part of who I am, and I have embraced that. And I've also used it as inspiration to live, to see how best I can impact on other people, so that my mother's legacy, because why I say I have the pleasure of seeing her die is just hearing the stories and the impact that she's had on so many people with so little, which really just brought it home that we don't need much to impact other people. Sometimes, really and truly, all we need to do is just show respect. And that brings me to the final phase of, well, my exposure to who I am, to the group. And I'm calling this phase the beginning. So I'm currently an associate at law, an associate attorney at law, licensed to practice in Jamaica, having been called to the Jamaican bar in 2019. In my current employment, I deal mainly with civil matters. Like I would share with you, well, like I've said, when I was a child, I wanted to become a journalist. That was all my focus. I am not one of those persons who can honestly say I've had a passion and always wanted to become a lawyer. In fact, I never even thought about it. So at the time when I said it to my mother, because she transitioned within my first year of the LLB, when I said it to my mother, her reaction was, law? Where did that come from? I've never heard you mention law before. You've always wanted to be a journalist. But as a child, I really liked To Kill a Mockingbird, and I liked oh, my time. I really...
Zurie, you're okay. Just go ahead. Just go ahead.
Okay. I really liked To Kill a Mockingbird, and I was inspired by Atticus. So I guess the law comes from wanting to become Atticus. But really also it came from wanting to understand. I was in a situation where I just wanted to understand the law, understand how it worked, and try to help other people to understand how law works for them. And when I started, it just felt right. I am a member of the Portmore United Church. So yes, I am a Christian. I'm a member of the Portmore United, having transferred my membership from Dickies United Church, where I was baptized on July 11th, 1999. I'm a sports fan, but from the sidelines. Maybe one day I will get involved in sports administratively or from legal aspects, from sports law, which sports law is actually a dream of mine, really. So I love music. I'm trying to rekindle my love for books and reading. So in closing, who am I? I guess this is a summary. I am a country boy from deep rural St. Anne with big dreams. And my biggest ambition is to be able to live purposefully so that I can inspire other little children from the community I'm from, tickets, to seek opportunities to shape their destinies so that they can live their dreams. And now I'm also a Kiwanian, and I look forward to what that brings. So I hope this gave you a better idea of who I am. And this was my version of up close and personal. Thank you.
Let's give Zurie a hand. Thank you very much, Zurie. Thank you very much.
Very nice.
That is really what we wanted to accomplish out of this kind of out of this up close and personal. And you really made it, you know, up close and personal. Thank you very much. At this point, because we don't really do Q&As for these sessions, although, you know, if after
that's the DP Earl's
DP Earl wants to ask one question.
Okay, DP Earl, we'll give you the option. Go ahead.
Professor, just two comments. Zurie, you're not alone with only wanting to be a journalist and become an attorney. We heard Dion Jackson Miller saying the same thing. She did it by accident. And even Emily, she wanted to be a journalist, and she was a journalist, and she's still doing it, and she's an attorney. And then the other thing I just wanted to comment on, country boy, come to town. That sounds like a certain person who went to Calabar and became prime minister. That's interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Earl. Well, yes, there are a lot of lessons, you know, in your message, in your story, and we thank you for that. Now it's time for not a newbie, but Michael Archer. His span is gonna be a little bit longer than Zurie in terms of time, but let's go to Michael Archer.
Before you go, Prezi, just want to ask Zurie. He says from deep rural St. Anne. What part of St. Anne is that deep rural part?
He said above the hills above Puerto Rico.
So it's not where you came from.
Above the hills of Puerto Rico.
No, the hills above Puerto Rico.
Wow,
across from there, right?
Dumbarton area.
He did mention the name, but I can't remember the name. Okay, it's time to go to Michael, and let's hear from him what his experiences have been like. Michael, over to you.
Firstly, thanks, Stuart, for inviting me. I was intrigued by Zurie's dissertation, for want of a better word, and I hope I can be as entertaining and as interesting as this. He reflects what we're looking forward for the next generation, and I come from a generation that time has come and passed. But I will try to see if I can match your presentation. And I really want to say that I enjoyed what you had to say. President Paul, DP Stewart, Kiwanians, key clubbers. My name is Michael Archer. I am a Kingston boy. I was born at St. Joseph hospital in Vineyardtown. In 1953, I went to what was known at the time as choir school as an infant, where we part of that school activity was being part of the choir for the cathedral. I'm a Roman Catholic baptized a Roman Catholic. My father was a small contractor and real estate agent. My mother was a pharmacist. She initially worked at Port Antonio Hospital as a pharmacist, and then she got married to my father, came to Kingston, and joined the civil service as a medical technologist at the Jamaica Government Lab. I have 3 siblings. I'm the second. I have an older sister, and I have that comes before me, a sister that follows me, and then I have a younger brother who also went into engineering. I then moved to St. Teresa Prep, where I don't know if it was common entrance at the time, but I got a common entrance scholarship, they used to call it at the time, to St. George's College, where that was in 1964, and I graduated in 69. I went to sixth form at the time, and spent 1 year at St. George's, left and went to Excelsior High School and finished my upper six before going to UWI Mona to do a maths degree. While I was all my siblings I'm the only one without a second degree. All my siblings also went to university, and they, as you may figure, my older sister, Lucy, still works, is the retirement age, and semi-retired. My last brother, who is an engineer, just retired from Broad School Board in Florida. I am married to an attorney. She is the managing partner of Archer Cummins, and I have 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. All my 4 kids reside in the States right now. I would have preferred that at least one or some of them come back to Jamaica, but apparently the opportunities here so far don't seem to match their aspirations, so they all work in the US. Well, the last one actually has not graduated yet. He's doing a business degree, and he graduates next year. So my 4 kids. As I indicated, I started maths at UW. I became an intern at the survey department. At the time, they had a program trying to encourage young graduates to go into the field of surveying. And so in the summer, I used to work there as an intern. While I was there, I think Earl was a trainee surveyor at the time before he went off to England. But I gave up surveying because I got the impression that surveyors weren't my kind of life. During the holidays, you would go on survey camps. to do field work. And the group that I was with, after the day's work, spent most of the evening at the bar. And I had a hard time keeping up with them. And, you know, when you told them that, you know, it's okay, I'll have a Pepsi, you know, they said that you're antisocial, you know, if everybody drinking white rum, you have to drink white rum. And so after my last summer of that, I decided that I don't think I can manage surveying if that is what it takes to be a surveyor. So I applied to the university to do engineering, got into St. Augustine, and went to St. Augustine and became a civil engineer. Before I go on to my professional thing, while I was at school, I used to do track athletics. I actually went to champs. I didn't get to any final. I ran the 100 and the 200 class 2 in, I think it was 1968. But the star of that time was Eric Barrett, who was a Georgian, who eventually, when I left and went to Excelsior, he went to Camperdown. I think he still holds the 100 yards record, because I think after 68, they changed from 100 yards to 100 meters. So I was an aspiring Olympian, but never blossomed into what my aspirations was as a schoolboy. I actually left George's in lower 6 and was convinced to go to Excelsior after that year at champs. Excelsior at that time in 70, or was hoping to beat Kingston College, which was the dominant school at the time in championship, and felt that if they could hone my skills, I could help them in that regard. Unfortunately, I got injured, so I never ran in 69. And having gotten into UW, I decided that I would give up track and go and do a maths degree. And having not been able to cope with surveying, which is where I thought I would be ending up, I applied to St. Augustine and got to St. Augustine and became an engineer. I came back and worked with Public Works. That's where I met DP Stewart. I became eventually the resident engineer on the Mandeville bypass. That was back in 77. I think Stewart was on Bagua bypass at the time. And Stewart then left Public Works and went to a World Bank project, Sites and Services, and encouraged me to join them there. So I went to Sites and Services, which was involved in housing, low-income housing at the time. I stayed at Sites and Services from 79 till after the elections of 1980. Stuart went off to do his master's. I rose from the rank of engineer to chief technical director for the department. And then in 1981, Sites and Services became a public liability company, which was known as EDCO. I, in 1983, became the general manager, the chief operating officer. I worked there as general manager until 1989, when I left to go into private practice, and with 2 other engineering peers of mine started a company. That didn't last very long, and was dissolved, and then I started my own company, in P&M Developers Limited. But while I was involved in building houses, I was asked by the Minister of Construction to head up their team for the planning and the design of the Greater Portmore project. And so I became, through my company, the project manager for the Greater Portmore project. I think that was in 1990. And I worked on that project for 2 years, to the point where construction commenced. It was at the time the largest single housing project that was undertaken, not just in Jamaica, but in the Caribbean. Out of that exposure, and also my exposure working at EDCO, I was invited to join a team of professionals contracted to USAID for a urban planning project in South Africa. Initially, when I was asked, I didn't think they were serious, but while I was at EDCO, I used to deal with the officials from USAID on a housing guarantee program that they financed here in Jamaica. And they asked for my resume. I gave them my resume, and around 2 months after, I got a call and was asked, where should I send the ticket? So I said, ticket for what? I said, well, you are part of this consulting team to go to South Africa. I said, South Africa? I thought you were joking. I didn't know you were serious. Well, initially I was very reluctant, but the person indicated to me that a lot of people thought he was crazy working in Jamaica in the 80s, the late 70s and 80s. And he said, South Africa is a lot like that. You work in very good conditions. There are places you don't go, or if you go with the proper escorts. And South Africa is a lot like that. I tell him, well, I'm not too sure I wanted to take that on. He said, well, you have to go because your name was put in, and we got the contract primarily because they wanted somebody with your expertise. And on top of that, although it was a contract that was brokered with the ANC, which wasn't the government at the time. Part of the reason for brokering that contract was South Africa's agreement to give up their nuclear warheads. And they got this $200 million grant for reintegrating some of the urban centers in South Africa. So the consultant indicated that you need to just come, even if you spend 3 months, and if you can't manage it, then you can, resign and go back to Jamaica. Now, I'm glad that I took it up. My wife at the time encouraged that there's nothing to lose to go to South Africa at the time. And so I went to South Africa in 1992 and actually stayed there for 6 years. I left there in 97 when I came back to Jamaica. I will come back to some highlights related to that experience because I consider that probably the most rewarding time of my professional life. I was there at a time when the transition from apartheid um, to government took place. And so I literally was party to the transition and the changing of history. I had the pleasure and opportunity to meet a lot of the ANC personnel, including President Mandela. Actually, that was facilitated by the fact that Michael Manley, Prime Minister Michael Manley, I think he was retired at the time, was the Commonwealth Chief of Mission for the Observer for the election in '94. And they had a reception there. And he, for some reason, remembered me from Jamaica. And as you would know, because of his advocacy with the anti-apartheid movement, he was fairly revered in South Africa at the time. And he actually introduced me as not as an American that I was taught to be, but as a Jamaican and who worked on Greater Portmore. And as a result of that, my whole relationship with the ANC was enhanced, and I can say to some extent that I became an insider in the whole process of the transition that took place there. The job I was involved in was, you know, the urban centers, Johannesburg, Durban, Cape Town, were primarily white-only cities. They were large parcels of, well, I was involved in a project similar to Greater Portmore, known as Ketamana in Durban, where they were reintegrating that city and putting in housing primarily for low-income, non-white residents. It wasn't just low-income. So I was involved in that project, and I went there as a consultant initially. During the 6 years that I spent there, I eventually became the chief of party, which means that I was in charge of the entire project that was financed by USAID for the reintegration of the city of Durban, Cape Town, and areas in Johannesburg. So that was a major part of my professional life and experience that I treasure to this day. I have a lot of anecdotes that I shared already, I think, with the Kiwanians about living in South Africa. My son was the first Black person that was born at the Kingsmead Hospital in Durban. I was the first Black engineer admitted into the Institute of Engineers. In South Africa, unlike Jamaica at the time, for you to call yourself an engineer, you have to be registered. And so I had to go through an interview and an exam or whatever. And I was the first Black engineer that was registered in South Africa. So I spent a lot of time going to career days at Black schools in Umlazi, in Johannesburg, in Soweto, etc. Basically indicating to school leavers or to students that here's a Black engineer. There's no reason why you can't aspire to be a Black engineer. or to be an engineer. There were tertiary education allowed for Black people, but it was primarily law, as Mandela was, and most of the ANC professionals were. Social work and medicine, primarily because doctors in the white areas would not go and administer medicine and practice medicine in Black areas. And public health was a major concern. So South Africa did produce Black doctors and Black lawyers, but they didn't allow Black students to do engineering, or there weren't any opportunity for them. A lot of them went to Eastern Europe and got qualifications, but were never admitted on the guise that their education and curriculum was not complete. But having come from a British background, that couldn't be used in my case. And in any event, I had the veto power for $200 million US grant that was provided by USAID. And so a lot of the white consultants who wanted to engage basically needed for me to be a registered engineer. So I guess they gave me a pass and got into that. I came back to Jamaica and joined Zurie Paving, where I'm a director, or I'm a semi-retired director now. Zurie Paving is one of the few Jamaican firms that is a regional construction and engineering firm. We have offices in Guyana, in St. Kitts. We have done work in Trinidad, Dominica, Antigua, along with St. Kitts and Guyana. I was the president of the Master Builders Association, which is the association for contractors from 2006 to 2008. And that was a period when there was a fair amount of turmoil. If people remember the cement crisis, when we had a problem with the quality of cement. I was the president at that time. I'm currently back in my own company, which I'm now doing work as a private developer, doing some small, primarily housing development projects. Outside of that, my main hobbies now is that I play golf. Not much since the COVID time. And I also, I'm a walker. There's a walking club. And so I walk with a group, an average of around 35 miles a week. Outside of that, I was introduced to the Kiwanians by Stuart, was when in 98. I've been a very active member because based on my career activities, I spent a lot of time before COVID traveling back and forth in the Caribbean. And that is me. I'm from the last generation of engineers and professionals. We are in an era now where the younger engineers don't seem to have some of the opportunities that we had back in those days. as a lot of the major roadworks now are undertaken by foreign contractors and foreign professionals. But there's still a lot of work here in Jamaica. But as I indicated, I'm a semi-retired person. I hope that now that I'm in that mode, I can probably contribute a little more to the Kiwanis movement, as I hope to do. So that's all I can say at this time. And thanks for listening. And I hope at least I didn't bore you too much.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. You know, even though I knew about, you know, we have spoken about the South African experience, I don't think I quite understood the scope of your responsibility. You know, I may not have quite grasped it as you have explained it tonight, but certainly very interesting. And the last thing you said about now that you are like semi-retired, maybe you can devote a little more time to Kiwanis. We look forward to that. We look forward to that. So thank you once again. Thank you very much. Okay, President Paul, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, DP Stewart, and also I want to thank Kiwanian Zurie and Kiwanian Michael for sharing a bit of their life and their journey. I mean, it was very interesting and captivating, and we want to see our Kiwanians also in this platform to participate in this activity that we have every 3 months. And DP Stewart, kudos to you again for arranging another successful up close and personal with our members. We move on. May I just ask for a motion for an extension of 10 minutes, members of the Kiwanians Club of Kingston, so we can complete.
So moved, President. So moved.
Seconded.
Esmond.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to the notices and announcements, and I'm calling on Secretary DLG Willie to do so.
Thank you, President Paul. Just a reminder that the Fundraising Major Project Committee meet tomorrow at 5:30 at the home of DP Richard Rees, apartment 16A, Ivy Court. The Police Trust Fund meeting on Monday, May the 9th at the Secretariat. That's at 7 p.m. So far as conventions, the Kiwanis International Convention has been held in Indianapolis between July the 8th to the 11th. The All Island Convention being held at the Grand Bahia Hotel from July 29th to August 1. A number of us have already registered for the one day. We're hoping that we get a pool 2 or 3 cars and a group us go down for the day. There is registration and it's US 70. And lastly, the district convention being held in Fredericton, New Brunswick from August 18th to the 20th. Insofar as in the clubbing opportunities, we had an invitation later this evening from GC Foster College CKI. We're having an induction and installation ceremony starting at 8:30 p.m. Then tomorrow, we have an invitation from the Kiwanians Club of St. Andrews Southern Professional Online. That's a new club. And their meeting starts at 7 o'clock. And their presenter is none other than Betty Ann Blaine, who her team is Listen to Hear the Children. President Paul, those are the notice announcements and installation, and the clubbing opportunities. You may like to ask any present or anybody present if they have any announcement. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much, Deirdre, really. Yes, let me just invite any of our participants, if you wish to share with us any upcoming event that you will have. We are here. Any of our participants online? Okay, I guess it's a quiet week.
Yeah, number of cake sales.
Yes, yes. Okay. Yes, we'll have the thought for the week, and I'm going to call on DP Stewart to give us his usual 2 thoughts before we proceed to terminate our meeting.
May I ask a question, Pres?
Yes, go ahead.
I know, while I don't have any questions for our speakers or guests, are you allowing maybe 1 or 2 questions?
Well, go ahead.
No, I don't have any, really, but I'm just wondering if others may have, and I didn't hear that you were allowing that to take place. So I'm just wondering if you've.
Well, I didn't see any. Well, I didn't see any hands raised amongst the participants. So I take it that the presentations done by our 2 Kiwanians were well received, and you know, and it was
very much. They may have gotten the impression that we weren't taking any. So we can open for 2 questions or so. I saw Newton, your hand came up, or your mic was open. Go ahead, Newton.
Thank you, DP Stewart. If I may, President Paul, it's really not a question. It's really a comment to Kiwani and Zurie. You had a great life, but you were just misled once by your bigger sister and your parents. and it is that you should have gone to Glenmuir.
Oh. Bobo.
Okay, do that. I could have said something too, but I didn't.
I'm not going to say anything.
Anybody else has a comment? Just 1 or 2, if any, or question.
I just make 1 comment. Our second speaker looks like he has lived about 4 lives, because that experience and he only get gray hair. He has served about 4 lives. Congratulations.
Yes. And Michael, I think the club you spoke at, you might not remember the name because that was very early. I think it was Kiwanians Club Central Portmore. When I think I invited you, you were a guest speaker there, speaking about your experience in South Africa.
But he spoke amongst us, because I remember asking him to tell us about the honorary white thing, but he didn't touch it tonight. And I didn't go to Central Portmore. Thank you.
Well, I didn't have enough time. I didn't understand, so I had to go into all of that. But
yeah, man.
It was an experience that also had some social interactions that were somewhat awkward or amusing sometimes, but it was good to be a Black man that was in a position in a predominantly white environment where white people had to basically defer to you.
Yes.
At the time you bought all your furniture, and the people were shocked, and it was big news.
Okay.
Yeah. 200 euro this year and
okay.
Okay,
yeah.
President. My question. Thank you, President. My question is for Kiwanian Zurie. He spoke of his mother. What became of Dad? Where he never talked of his dad after his birth. Where is his dad? Is his dad still alive?
He is.
Oh.
He's alive. He's still there. He's still home in St. Anne. So I visit him ever so often when I can.
Okay, I just wanted to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that it? Okay, President Paul, I'll go on to the thoughts then. My 2 thoughts for the week. Focus on the little things you can control, and the bigger picture will come together by itself. That's 1. And the other one is, you can only grow if you are willing to feel awkward and uncomfortable when you try something new. So those are my 2 thoughts. Thank you, President Paul.
Yes, thank you very much, DP Stewart. Well, at this time, I'm going to ask members.
Oh, you didn't ask the Sarge. The Sarge is here. I don't know if he was prepared.
No, give the Sarge a break. This week, DP Stewart.
Okay.
I sent a message to you earlier on as well.
Okay.
Yes, and of course, I want to thank the Sarge. I spoke with him earlier today, and I thank him very much for his role that he played throughout the several weeks that had passed. So thank you very much, DP Earl.
Woo.
Yes, I'm gonna ask that.
Thank you very much. I did respond.
Yes. Yes, I'm gonna ask that we all raise a toast to Kiwanians International and to Jamaica Land We Love. This meeting of the Kiwanians Club of Kingston is now terminated at 8:32 p.m.
Kiwanians International, Jamaica Land We Love.
Very good meeting, DP Stewart.
Yes, made good by our presenters.
Yes.
Yes. Zurie and Michael, you guys did very well. Really, very, very well. Thank you. This is what I wanted this program to be, and it has lived up to. This evening has lived up to my expectations. So great going. But we're gonna play some music. You can keep chatting, I keep the music low if anything. And until we get ready for that. Let me stop the recording first. Okay. Okay.
But still, I didn't remember you from the days of Edco and all those things, man.
Say that again?
I didn't remember you from the days of Edco. When Michael was in charge. With
No, I think I left before it became Edco.
Oh yeah.
Remember I was there when it was Sites and Services.
I was there for a while when it was Edco.
Okay.
Edco had a lot to do with projects at Heart. That's where I met Michael.
Oh.
The Heart Trust.
I've been in the housing thing. I know Michael from Sugar Industrial Housing to Ministry of Housing and then to Edco.
Lower the music a little bit.
Okay.
I was there from Ministry of Housing. I started with Sugar Industrial Housing in '76 after leaving university, and then to Ministry of Housing, and I was on I was at Ministry of Housing for a while, and then Edco, which was a part of it, and so on. Then Earl, I know you remember the days of Ministry of Communications and Works.
Yes.
All those land surveyors.
Yeah, I do.
I was there for a while too.
That story that Michael said about when you go out with surveyors.
Yeah.
I can only remember the first department I worked in when I came back to Public Works. Yeah. The first department I worked in when I came back to Public Works was in the survey department.
That's where I worked there too,
Okay.
With Grace and them.
Right.
And with Ojo, with the African guys, Ojo, okay.
Angulo.
Yes, I was there
Remember
out of high school.
Yeah.
I wanted to become a surveyor too, I must tell Earl, a land surveyor.
Well, I was doing like layout work for roadworks. Not,
Yes.
I wasn't doing any boundary stuff or any of that. Well, I don't know if works would do boundary anyway. But I was doing that. I was doing like layout for grades and alignment and so on.
And yet, when I was asking Stu to help me, before Stu went to do the civil engineering, I have to remind him. He said he said, boy, Earl, this job better finish today, because I'm not coming back. But he was walking with the staff all over the place to this spot sites, and I stand up in one place comfortable.
No, the hill, it was kind of stressful.
But you talk about the drinking and so on. I didn't join those crowds, As a matter of fact, one of our top executives eventually, Harry Armstrong, the late Harry Armstrong.
Oh, administrative housing.
Yeah, and he would look at the guys, and he would say, the corner shop bar, and he would look down. I mean,
you mean Prim and proper Harry Armstrong?
Yeah, but
he was the chairman of EDCO when I was general manager.
Right.
Yes.
And then he became permanent secretary.
Yes, administrative housing.
On the Golding.
Permanent secretary.
Right. I was there. I was at the Ministry of Housing there too, I was director of projects, leaving from Sugar Industry. I'm sure you know me, Mike. Junior Stewart.
Yeah, man.
I took over for Bob Merrill, who was there, and I worked.
It is Bob Merrill who got me to South Africa,
Yeah, you say the same thing. That time Harry Armstrong was the ministry. I missed you at that time, and then I asked about you. And they told me that you're in South Africa, but I never heard anything until they come back and start working for Surrey Paving.
Yeah.
In fact, it was the furthest thing for my...
Who set it up for me?
Bob Merrill. Yes.
Yeah.
I took over the job that Bob Merrill had here, working for USAID.
Okay.
When he left. So I remember we were in the same circle, and you were at EDCO and so. You were near enough.
Right.
You knew Raleigh when he was going there?
No, I don't remember Raleigh at school so much.
No man, Raleigh is young boy to student.
No, it would have been probably two or so from or so, maybe 2 or 3 behind me.
Oh man, Raleigh is my age. Raleigh come from Vineyardtown. Live up the road from me.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Raleigh wouldn't be in your.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. My God.
It's my age group.
Right. Well, Raleigh came and lived in Waterhouse, and that is why I know him.
Yeah.
Well, him used to live on Walking Avenue.
Yes. I know him used to live on that
side. I live here.
Right. I know him live up that side. I know he was from that side. But I know him when he was at Waterhouse. I was going to KC. So we have a cross. I live closer to Calabar and to live closer.
But
so we always cross.
Junior, was it you and Raleigh who did Up Close and Personal together?
No, it was David.
David Hall.
Oh, yes. Oh, David did it with you?
I think.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Raleigh did it a different night.
Right.
Yeah. We have all of these on tape for anybody who, all of these are recorded. Just have to subscribe to the KCOK YouTube channel, and you can find all of these.
Access it.
Yeah, man, you can access it.
And then you hear how Junior accidentally go KC.
Yeah, Junior story about going to KC was something
my
else.
whole life is a story about accident.
No, I deliberately put it in accident because same way Freddie Green they come KC.
Okay.
Freddie Green was heading to George's, and his father said, but somehow you reach there and them can't take it. Maybe check here, no?
Yeah.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Sports day was a big thing. Nowadays, you
Man,
go
with
to a
cake
school
and
sports
all them
day,
stuff.
it just
Oh, well, it's not
from
really
there.
sure now. Well, look, dogs did that too, and now we
At T10 with 6 teams, 6 Jamaica teams.
Okay, interesting.
But everything nowadays, man, it's short, man. It's a short. It can't.
Attention
I want-
span.
Yes,
Attention
attention.
deficit.
Yes. Everything, as we were saying, a group of us were saying, if it's either now or never, not tomorrow, not another day. Young people it
Instant,
have to be no,
instant gratification.
instant.
But the
I want to think
reason
that is the older people would want that because
What's that, Mike?
So the reason is because of television. I think that's the only golf you watch all day.
And
Every
they
other,
watch you.
yeah. And I think what happened is that the way cricket is played, it will allow for advertisements.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that is what pay for the sponsorship, the advertisements.
It allows
In
for,
golf,
yes.
in golf, them just cut the screen in two, and the
Right.
advert is one side, and the golf going on the other side.
Yeah.
If them can work that with cricket, then them can attract more advertisement.
I remember America wanted to split up football into
four.
quarters.
Four, yeah. Yeah, boy.
And wanted to introduce timeouts so that they're
Yeah.
gonna get ad. FIFA said, no, not go so.
Boy.
That would never make sense. That's not football.
Yeah.
That's not how we play
What am
football.
I saying? That will never happen.
Oh boy.
And call handball football and football soccer.
Yeah, this is annoying. The few times they hold that ball. I mean, they kick that
Few times
ball.
they kick that
How
ball.
dare they
It's
call
very
it
few.
football?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then somebody
Very
hold
few
it.
times. Yeah.
Remember, all I can think of is Peanuts, Lucy and Charlie, bro.
Yeah.
She said to him, boy, I know I moved the ball 100 times before, but I'm not going to move it this time. And Charlie, bro, like he did, got kicked and missed because she moved it. She said she couldn't resist it. So, anybody call you Charlie Brown, you really are a sucker.
Oh boy.
Yes.
All right,
Well,
fellas. So long for all
I
time.
easy now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can up your music now.
All right.
You love that artist, that artist,
Yeah. Zanke.
good night. Yeah.
Well, the amount of them I like, I can know, say, I reach the stage, I can only look at them.
You know, this other girl that I've played a lot, Lyra. You know,
Yeah,
she had a stroke.
Oh.
She had a what?
She had a stroke. Just about a week ago. She was performing in to perform in Germany. And she just got a stroke. So she's back in South Africa. This is Lyra.
Yeah.
This one. Not this one. Let me show you. Yeah, and she's 43.
Okay.
And but she, you know, when I was searching the other day, I saw just that her speech has been affected. First name is Johan, and I was listening to some classical music. This is called Canon in D major. Listen to the music, and you get what I say.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. If you give a little more than you take, and if you try to fix more than you break, if you're the kind who takes the time to help a stranger in the rain.
I remember when we played it when Dudley, the meeting we had for Dudley in honor of Dudley Ball.
If you stand up for those down
That's very
on their knees.
Yes, man, I remember when they played it.
And lend a voice to those who cannot speak. If you shine a little light, give sight to the ones who've lost their way. There's a place for people like you. I've heard up there the streets are made of gold, and when you get there, there's a hand to hold. I believe when your days down here are through, there's a place up there for people like you. If you walk around with your heart on your sleeve, and if you're trying to be the change you want to see, if you lay down your life for love so someone could be saved, there's a place for people like you. I've heard up there the streets are made of gold, and when you get there, there's a hand to hold. I believe when your days down here are through, there's a place up there for people like you. Are made of gold, and when you get there, there's a hand to hold. I believe when your days down here are through, there's a place up there for people like you. I know you're out there, so keep doing what you do, 'cause there's a place up there for people like you. Out of many one people we are.
This is for all the girls, them. Just tell some man some money can't buy love. You see how some of them are going around with the whole for bidding. Man want hold bid on a man. And it just not work, and the girl not stay with you. Tell them say love and no fi sale. Tell them say love and no fi sale. Any girl we sell love, them a go end up in a jail, and the cops them not give them no bail. Yeah, me a tell them say love and no fi sale. Tell them say love and no fi sale. Any girl we sell love, them a go end up in a jail, and the cops them not give them no bail. Some gyal a hype and them loving it, not carry no price, and come a go on like say them nice. If you don't have no love, girl, do raise your voice. Go home, go put that pa ice. One of me brethren tell me something from half of you, and me get to find out say you're true. The way that girl they love it nice, it all I get interview, it make me feel like they under voodoo. Yeah. Tell them say love and no for sale. Tell them say love and no for sale. Any girl we say love them a go end up in a jail, and the cops them nah give them no bail. Yeah. Me a tell them say love and no for sale. Tell them say love and no for sale. Any girl we say love them a go end up in a jail, and the cops them nah give them no bail. Girl, the way you intelligent, you have to get a right up. A hush gal you come round, you come bright up. Put you one in the ear, hold it right up. Your skin no donkey bite up. If you got the loving examine and you loving it no pass, you're going to get heavy body cross. Me see some gal all a crawl like a snake on the grass. Me know me nah go pay the cost. Me gal, tell them say love and no for sale. Tell them say love and no for sale. Any girl we say love them a go end up in a jail, and the cops them nah give them no bail. Yeah, me a tell them say love and no for sale. Tell them say love and no for sale. Any girl we say love them a go end up in a jail, and the cops them nah give them no bail. If you know if you play the role, you can get cash for goal. All when some boy you behave like them cool. Too bad move and them do what them told. All kind of things a handful. Girl, you know so your love should not dash out for nothing. You shouldn't not work like a Lee button. For the least little thing you should not quit for whooping. Must always try work for something. Yeah. Tell them say love and no for sale. Tell them say love and no for sale. Any girl we say love them a go end up in a jail, and the cops them nah give them no bail. Yeah. Me a tell them say love and no for sale. Tell them say love and no for sale. Any girl we say love them a go end up in a jail, and the cops them nah give them no bail. Some gyal a hype and them loving it nah carry no price, and come a go on like say them nice. If you don't have no love, girl, do raise your voice. Go home, go put that pa ice. One of me brethren tell me something from half of you, and me get to find out say you're true. The way that girl they love it nice, it all I get interview, it make me feel like me under voodoo. Me gyal, tell them say love and no for sale. Tell them say love and no for sale. Any girl we say love them a go end up in a jail, and the cops them nah give them no bail. Yeah, me a tell them say love and no for sale. Tell them say love and no for sale. Any girl we say love them a go end up in a jail, and the cops them nah give them no bail. Tell them say love and no for sale. Tell them say love and no for sale. Any girl we say love them a go end up in a jail, and the cops them nah give them no bail. Nothing in life is for free. Money have to run, food have to eat, all of these things.
Tell me something, girl. Are you happy in this modern world? Or do you need more? Is there something else you're searching for? I'm falling. In all the good times I find myself longing for change, and in the bad times I fear myself.
Tell me something, boy. Aren't you tired trying to fill that void? Or do you need more? heart keeping it so hardcore. I'm falling. In all the good times I find myself longing for change. And in the bad times I fear myself. I'm off the deep end, watch as I dive in. I'll never leave the ground. Crash through the surface where they can't hurt us. We're far from the shallow now. In the shallow. Shallow, we're far from the shallow now. Oh, 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 shallow, in the shallow, we're far from the shallow now.
Simple 5-second ritual help.
Father, we all have, sir. We have service and we have none. Then if on the floor, you had and road, you have brother. Who
Everybody okay? Come up to my room to tell you I'm sorry. You don't know how lovely you are. I had to find you to tell you I need you. To tell you I set you apart. Tell me your secrets or ask me your questions. Oh, let's go back to the start. Running in circles or coming up tails. Heads on the silence apart. Nobody said it was easy. Oh, it's such a shame for us to part. Nobody said it was easy. No one ever said it would be so hard. Come on. I'm going back to the start. dancing, numbers and figures. I was putting your puzzles apart. The questions of science and progress, do not speak as loud as my heart. So tell me you love me, or come back and haunt me. Oh, and I rush to the start, just running in circles, or coming up tails, coming back as we are. Nobody said it was easy. Oh, it's such a shame for us to part. Nobody said it was easy. No one ever said it would be so hard. Oh, let's go back to the start. Okay, let's sing together now. Sing it. Sing it. Oh. 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 Nobody. Oh, it's such a shame for us to part. No one ever said it would be so hard. We have the best fans in the world, there's no question. Oh, let's go back to the start. Thank you. Okay, well.
I am not in love, but I'm open to persuasion. East or west or best for romancing with a friend. I can smile, but with a lover I could hold my head back. I could really laugh, really laugh. Thank you. You took me dancing across the floor, cheek to cheek. But with a lover I could really move, really move. I could really dance, really dance, really dance, really dance. I could really move, really move, really move, really move. Now if I can feel the sun in my eyes and the rain on my face, why can't I I could really love, really love, really love, really love, really love.